Good morning. Welcome to Texas Integrative Medicine and Cardiology. My name is Laura Alcantar. I'm a family nurse practitioner here in the clinic, and we're here this morning because we're getting ready for the holidays. Thanksgiving is this week already, and as you all may know, if you've come here to this clinic, if your patients here, you know that we are very, very focused on health, and part of being healthy is eating right. So we feel like you've heard us say before that we feel it's not enough for you to come to a doctor's office and we send you off and say go eat healthy, and we really don't guide you or tell you how to do it. So as you know, if you've come here, you know that we really put forth the effort to teach you how to eat, what you should eat, and the reasons for it. So our main goal here is prevention. Wellness and disease prevention is our main goal, and the basis of all of that is nutrition. So with the holidays coming, it's one of the worst times for us here in the clinic because a lot of patients, kind of get off the diet. Not all, but some patients get off the diet, and comes January, we're kind of having to backtrack and start over again, things that really shouldn't have been lost during the holiday season. So one of the biggest treats for Thanksgiving is pumpkin pie, and we love it. We love pumpkin pies and the variations of it. And I myself love to bake. I'm the pie baker for my family for the holidays, and I love to bake pies all day long. Of course, pies are not always that healthy, and they're packed and riddled with sugar, and so that's part of the reason why it's so important to learn how to cook different. So what we tell our patients here in the clinic is that it's a lifestyle change. It's not a diet you're going to get off and on. It's a lifestyle change, and in order for it to really be a lifestyle change, you really need to become embedded in learning how to cook and changing your ways, learning really how to pull on a full Thanksgiving feast without having to get off your eating plan. And you shouldn't have to deprive yourself from things like pumpkin pie, stuffing, and rolls if you really learn and get your feet wet or your hands dirty and really learn how to cook the healthy way. So what we're doing today is we're going to bake a pumpkin cheesecake, which sounds pretty yummy, but of course it's healthy. And not because it's healthy means it doesn't have to taste good. It's actually going to be really creamy and really good. So what this pie is going to be is based on the ketogenic diet. Now, depending on what type of diet you're in, it may or may not be an option for you. However, if you're just totally going to get off the diet for the holidays, and that, at the very least, adding a healthier pie with less or no sugar, or really almost no sugar, would probably be the best option if you're not going to do anything at all. But if you are following the ketogenic diet, this is perfect for you because you don't have to jump off the wagon or on the wagon, whatever it is, to really stay healthy and remain compliant on your diet. So we're going to begin here. My hands are already washed and clean. So we're going to begin with the crust. The crust is so important because there's tons of recipes out there for healthy pies, but they kind of exclude the crust because really that's a big part of what makes the pies unhealthy. So what we do is I start with crushed pecans. So crushed pecans are great because they're full of good fatty acids. They're great. They have protein to them, and so it's an awesome little crunchy part of how to make a healthy crust. What you need to do for the crust is first you need to add cinnamon. Just cinnamon will give it that delicious fall flavor that we all crave for. So you get about half a teaspoon of this cinnamon. Utilizing pumpkin pie spice in the crust also kind of gives it that pumpkin feeling. And this one, because you're going to be adding some to the actual pie, it's important to just kind of minimize that. And maybe like a quarter teaspoon would be good enough for that. Another thing that we approximate here is vanilla. Vanilla, kind of more or less about 1 tablespoon of vanilla can do the trick. And vanilla is pretty strong, so you have to be careful not to kind of overdo that. And what you do is you just kind of mix that in, and you mix the pecans, the vanilla, the cinnamon, and pumpkin pie spice until it's very well mixed to your crushed pecans. There's tons of little, ways to crush your pecans. You can do it in a food processor. They sell those manual pecan or nut crushers in the stores that are like, $5. My mother-in-law gifted me one, and it's been a blessing in our family because we can cook all sorts of desserts with different kinds of nuts. So once you're done mixing the pecans with the rest of the spices, what you want to do is you want to add an egg wash. So here what we do, an egg white. And what you do is you grab the egg white from one egg and just kind of mix it so it's nice and bubbly. You don't have to rise it completely, but just so it's foamy. And you pour that in there. And what that's going to do, egg is a really good glue to make the crust kind of come together, and it helps it bind it. So you mix that in as well, and it's going to create just this little paste of pecan. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's just kind of like a little paste that it makes. And once that's well mixed in, what's really going to give you that fatty part of what we call for keto is adding butter to it. So you want to have some melted butter. This is about 4 to 5 cups of butter. And I know a lot of you are saying, my goodness, that's a lot of butter. And butter is, you know, traditionally thought of to be unhealthy, but really it's when you're following a ketogenic diet, and those who really know the reasons why fat wouldn't hurt or add to your cholesterol. Remember, we're a cardiology clinic, so we're very, very focused on keeping your cholesterol levels within healthy limits. But overall, in the ketogenic diet, remember, you're utilizing fat as a fuel source. So really, it's not gonna go in and clog up your arteries, because you're gonna utilize it as your primary source of fuel. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the ketogenic diet, feel free to call us or come by, make an appointment, and we'll guide you to see if this is the right diet plan for you. Now, it may not be. It may be that something else is better, and we have several types of diets here in the clinic that can really, it's based on your labs and based on your genetics, and we can really find out what would be the best diet plan for you. But a lot of our patients are on the ketogenic diet because it works so well for prevention of diabetes, heart disease, giving you more mental clarity, PCOS symptoms, hormone imbalances. It helps with tons of things. So anyway, now that you've mixed the butter and the pecans, it's going to make this kind of doughy, sticky, pecan-y kind of crust. I'm sorry, I don't have the correct terms for nutrition recipes, but I'm going to add here to our baking pan. Now, I like to use the springform pans in this case because it is a cheesecake, and you can just kind of undo it and the pie just rolls out. So what you do is you spread it around and create like a 1/8 inch crust and cover the bottom of the pan with it. You're not really gonna fill up the sides. I mean, unless you really want to. And don't be afraid to get in there and get dirty. You just kind of press it with your hands so it's nice and pressed in. So you see that it's nice and pressed in, and make sure there's no, holes in there. And so once it's really pressed in, what you want to do is you want to preheat the oven. Obviously, you want to start off by preheating the oven, 350 degrees. And what you want to do is put it in there. All right, so you want to set the timer for about 10 minutes. And I tend to kind of start thinking of other things and I forget. So I like to put 2 timers. And I like to just put a little handheld timer there so I don't forget. Anyway, I want to make a quick correction. I'm so sorry. I meant when I was talking about the butter, I said cups. Don't put cups. I'm so sorry. I meant tablespoons. Like I said, I don't do this all the time, so I apologize for that. But anyway, it's 4 to 5 tablespoons of butter. And what we like to use is Kerrygold butter. Now, we're not associated, we're not getting any, props because we're naming their products, but really, I love Kerrygold butter because it's a grass-fed organic butter, and it's creamy and very, very delicious. For those of you who kind of went on the low-fat craze that made us sicker, when you've been eating margarine, when you go back to eating butter and you really taste those flavors, it makes such a difference in the way your food tastes and how you feel too. So anyway, the next step is utilizing our cream cheese. I like to use the organic with no added any other chemicals to it, but I like to use a full fat cream cheese. Remember, in keto, we don't want to go low fat. So in dairy, anytime you remove fat from dairy, you're adding sugar to it. So you want to make sure that the products are exactly like they're meant to be and full of the fat that makes them so delicious. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with softened cream cheese. I softened it a little bit before we got started because sometimes cream cheese can be a little stubborn and it's really difficult to get it going. But what we're going to do is I like to use as a sugar replacement, I like to use Swerve. Swerve is erythritol, and what it does is it helps bring some sweetness into the food that we're eating. And of course, it doesn't really add sugar or raises your insulin or worsens diabetes. So you add about a little bit over 1 cup of Swerve. to it, and you want to mix it. You can use a handheld mixer or just a standalone mixer. It can help as well. And you want to really mix this in so it's nice and creamy. And it shouldn't resemble coarse crumbs. It should be really like a creamy type of mixture. And like I said, cream cheese is really stubborn, so you guys are going to see me struggling here a little bit. But that's the beauty of pie baking. Now you can get your kids involved and do this as well. Sometimes when kids are involved in making the pies and whatever your baked goods, they're more than likely to eat them because they want to taste what they helped you bake. And so that can help them also, stay away from those sugars, or at least reduce them during your Thanksgiving. So anyway, once it's already kind of mixed in, you want to increase the speed of the blender just to kind of rush the process a little bit. And sorry, I'm getting all dirty. I should have brought an apron. Nice job to see patients today, so they'll have to excuse me. All right. So now you see how it's creamy and ready to go. So now once you do this, then you can come in here and put in all the spices that make pumpkin pie so delicious. So again, you're going to go back to your cinnamon and add one tablespoon of cinnamon. You're going to add your pumpkin pie spice. And I like to add another tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice just to give it those flavors of fall and pumpkin pie. And then of course about 1 tablespoon of vanilla. So this is where the tricky part comes in. Once you've added your spices, you'll start mixing those in. And the tricky part comes when adding the egg. So remember, when you're cooking keto, you have to really pay attention to how much of the ingredient the recipe calls for. Because unfortunately, because we're not adding, all the sugar, it doesn't bind as well, it doesn't mix as well. So you have to kind of respect those amounts. Otherwise, it really maybe possibly won't come out like you want it to. So you mix. And once it's kind of mixed in, what you want to do is go to the lowest heat possible. The reason why we go to the lowest heat is because we're going to start adding in the eggs. And when you add the eggs to a higher speed, it creates air bubbles. There's air bubbles in your mix, and then there's going to be bubbles in your pie. So you want to make sure you're in the lowest speed. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Usually my husband or my kids are there to help, but I'll try. So you add 1 egg at a time. And again, it's the lowest heat possible. And you want to add the full egg. Remember, keto, again, mentioning the fat again, the egg yolks of the egg make it a very creamy pie as well. So don't be afraid to use those. Okay, now once that first egg is mixed in, then you want to add egg number 2. And again, we use organic eggs. And the reason why organic is so important, a lot of people will kind of argue that there's no difference from one egg to the other. They taste the same. And I don't know, I can't say too much about taste. I mean, I can taste the difference. Other people can't. But remember, eggs that are not organic, you're consuming eggs that have hormones injected to chickens. And those hormones, we're consuming them. I mean, when you think of watching our estrogens and of course chemicals that we're trying to limit in our consumption of those, and then you're eating eggs that were injected God knows what into those chickens, then you're consuming that as well. So there is a difference between just a regular egg and an organic egg. So I really urge you guys to buy organic. So anyway, the second egg is mixed in. Now we're going to add the third one. And we're going to mix that third one till it's really, really well in there. Once the eggs are mixed in, then the yummy part comes in. We're going to start mixing in the pumpkin. But you guys were wondering, well, where's the pumpkin in all of this? But we're getting to it. So now the eggs are in there. They're well mixed. Now I'm going to stop this for a second. and we're going to start adding the pumpkin. So the pumpkin, again, you can use canned pumpkin. I mean, I'm not a fan of canned, but I'll be honest with you, with, you know, busy lives and everything, you don't have time to kind of grow your pumpkins in your backyard, and then I don't know what you do to core them and get the pumpkin from that. But what I like to do is get the cans, and I do get the, you know, organic pumpkin that has, don't mix this up with a pumpkin pie mix, because that has all these sugars added to it. So it's just a plain old pumpkin, and making it organic is obviously better. So you add the pumpkin in there. I like just try to get it all in there. So now we're going to mix, and again I want to stick to the lower speeds to avoid getting air bubbles in there. Alright, it's almost mixed in. Remember, you're watching us from Texas Integrative Medicine and Cardiology, and you think, well, how odd, but we have a kitchen, a full kitchen here in our clinic, because our interest is to really teach our patients how to cook. We want to make sure that they learn, that they kind of change their lifestyle and make this, you know, lifestyle wellness to be their lifestyle goal, and not just a one-time thing. They lost 20 pounds and then they're back to eating their old foods. It's really about teaching them how to eat, how to improve their health through healthy eating. There's other services that we provide for our patients that are wellness and focused in wellness, but certainly nutrition is probably the best that we can do for our patients, because most of illnesses out there, especially the ones that are very prevalent in our community, like diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, obesity, all of that can be reversed or prevented through diet and lifestyle modifications, which is really our expertise here in the clinic. So now that it's well mixed in, what I like to do is grab my spatula again and just kind of grab the sides that are just kind of hanging out there and not really getting mixed in there. I really should have brought an apron. But anyway, like I said, I'm a nurse practitioner, and you think, well, that's odd, right? We're just supposed to see patients, but really in this, sorry, I'm going to pause really quick, and I'm going to take out the pie. All right, so now the crust is done. Like I said, I get distracted easily, so it's important to have those timers ready there. So I leave the oven on, and I was saying that as a nurse practitioner, I love my job just because I really am in medicine for the whole reason why I got into medicine was to try to help patients live just a better life and get healthier. And this wonderful place allows me to really, really do that and help my patients with long-lasting results and, of course, disease prevention. So anyway, I just want to mix whatever I scraped up from the sides. And while that's happening, it's very important that you let that pie crust cool. And you want to let it cool for about 10 minutes before you add your mixture of the pumpkin cheesecake. So it should give you like a nice orangey color. It's a creamy orange. And you can do this with pumpkin pie as well. I decided to do cheesecake because it adds fat to that those ketogenic goals for it. But certainly you can, for sure, you know, just do the pumpkin, and you don't have to do the cheesecake if you don't like cheesecake too much. We also have recipes here in the clinic for a pumpkin bread. A lot of our patients have received that already. But if you don't like the pie, we can make a pumpkin cake or a pumpkin bread with pecans in it, and it's very delicious. And you can do this. That recipe is really neat because you can substitute, when the holidays are over, you can substitute bananas for the pumpkin and make a delicious banana nut bread that you can enjoy with your coffee as obviously as dessert or snack. Because living this way doesn't mean you don't get to eat dessert and you don't get to eat all the yummy foods that life has to offer. It just means you have to cook them a little different than what we were traditionally taught. Now that we've allowed that pie crust to cool down, now we can add our mixture in there. So it's hot still, so I'm gonna kind of walk over here and do it. And what you want to do is really just pour that on top of the crust. Cheesecake is really odd, and some of you who know how to cook a lot more than I do, I'm sure. Cheesecake is tough because when it goes from changes in temperature, it can crack. I don't care about the cracks because we're gonna cut it up and eat it anyway, but some people really care about presentation. So you can do one or two things. If it cracks, you can whip heavy whipping cream with some of the swerve and make some, I guess, a creamier topping to hide the cracks. Or if you really, really don't want cracks, you can do like a water bath, and you can cook it inside of a larger container with water in it, and that usually, you know, helps with avoiding the cracks. Another nice trick if you don't have kids around is leaving the oven open when it's done cooking. You turn off the oven and leave it open. That way it's not a sudden change in temperature, and it's just more of a gradual change. But anyway, I really don't know. I mean, I know how to bake. I'm not a big cook, but those are little tricks that I've learned throughout the years. All right, so what you want to do is open the oven and put this back in there. This is a fairly new stove. We haven't used the oven too much, more at the top, but it's steaming a little bit. So now again, like I said, I want to set the timer set there, but I want to set my timer here, and you want to set it. I set it should be between 40 and 50 minutes. I like to set it at 45. That way I can start checking on it. So what's going to happen is when you pull it out, it's going to be a little jiggly at the center, and that's okay. Just, you know, that's how cheesecake is. It'll be a little jiggly, but it'll be cooked. You want to leave it and let it cool, and once it's completely cool, you want to put it in the refrigerator, and that should completely set it. Now, the best is leaving it 24 hours, so you may want to prepare ahead before Thanksgiving and start cooking this. Or what you can do is just put it in the refrigerator for a couple hours, and that should be good enough. But anyway, now while that's in the oven, you can certainly start working on your stuffing. And we don't have a stuffing recipe today, but if you guys have recipes to share with us, please let us know. Share them with us. We'd love to see them. If there's any keto or paleo recipes, like your dinner rolls for sure, and the stuffing that makes it so hard. Or the green beans. I mean, anything that you all have recipes for, let us know. That way we can share it to the rest of our patients. And we're trying to build a great community where we can do that. We can support one another with our recipes, and with obviously words of encouragement and support. We're really big on that in the clinic, words of encouragement and support. So anyway, feel free to do that for us, and that would be awesome. I'd love to see that. But anyway, we're just going to pause and take some time for this pie to cook, and then we'll get to enjoy it in a few minutes. Okay, so through the magic of television, the pie is done and served and ready to go. So basically, this is what the pie looks like. And so we brought the lovely girls from our staff to try it, so you guys can see that. Of course, I'm going to say it's delicious because it's my pie. I'm a little bit of a pie Nazi that way. But anyway, this is our staff. So they're going to try a piece. And this is why it's kind of awesome to work here most of the time. Because they get to eat yummy food. So my hands are clean. Thank you. There you go. My hands are clean because I've been cooking, right? So I want them to taste this. Oh my goodness. Sorry, Michelle. Sorry, Nicole. It's in pieces. And Miss Sarah. So this is our staff. And they're going to try it just for the taste test. But obviously, they like it?
Delicious.
Yes?
Yes.
So anyway, our staff is also on board trying to eat this way. Of course, remember, it's not the easiest thing. Michelle may be last on board, but she's really trying. We really kind of encourage our staff to, you know, live what we preach, because if you guys come in, we want to kind of share what you're going through, your battles, and there's some patients outside who are waiting to try the pie. So we're going to share that with them. But anyway, I hope you liked the recipe. Remember that living healthy doesn't mean you have to deprive yourself of what's good and yummy, or deprive yourself of the holiday season even. You really can cook healthy and enjoy the holidays and eating well. Tamales, I don't know about that. Tamales are banned from the holidays. There's nothing we can do to help those. But if you guys have a healthy tamal recipe, let us know. But anyway, they're banned. Anyway, thank you for joining us. We hope you appreciated. This is Her Little Corner. We're going to try to bring more recipes to you in the near future, so you can continue trying new things. I think January we want to do like a Super Bowl. You know, because the Broncos are going to the. Just kidding, I know they're not, but we really tried this year. We're going to try to do some, Super Bowl treats, so you guys can kind of enjoy the game and still really try to continue eating healthy. But anyway, thank you for joining us. We'll see you here at Texas Integrative Medicine and Cardiology. Let us know if there's anything we can do to help you achieve health. Thank you.